At 5:30 in the morning on September 27, 2025, a Russian commander notices something insignificant: an aging UAZ van creeping near his fortified position in Melitop. Irritated, he dispatches a patrol to investigate this minor disturbance. What he doesn't realize is that he's just triggered the deadliest sequence of events in his entire military career. This isn't just reconnaissance. This is precision psychological warfare. That drone depot sitting behind layers of security isn't merely another military installation. It's the operational nerve center coordinating devastating Lancet drone strikes that have been tearing through Ukrainian defensive positions for weeks. The facility sits protected inside a 6-mile electronic warfare dome, scrambling every unauthorized signal that enters its airspace. But the commander remains completely unaware that the battered van rolling through his sector is nothing more than carefully positioned bait. He has no idea his patrol is racing directly toward a freshly buried 15-pound anti-tank mine. And he certainly hasn't detected what's silently observing from an abandoned warehouse just 300 yards away. A massive Baba Yaga drone, motionless, patient, waiting for the Russians to activate their own destruction. 3 minutes pass. The Russian patrol truck tears down the empty street at 5:33 a.m. Ukrainian operatives have just finished their high-stakes delivery run. The TM-62 mine sits concealed beneath the pavement. 4 FPV drones have been successfully hidden inside the crumbling warehouse alongside the Baba Yaga. The mission timeline is proceeding flawlessly, but then an urgent transmission crackles through their intercepted Russian radio frequency. The patrol isn't just approaching. It's 30 seconds from their position. The truck's movement triggered a buried Rebbe 1000 vibration sensor, and now Russian forces are converging fast. There's no time for extraction. The UAZ van has transformed from an asset into a massive liability. The only remaining option is converting it into the final piece of manufactured evidence. 3 HUR operatives move with surgical efficiency. They abandon the vehicle with doors hanging open, creating the appearance of hasty departure. Transport sacks used for the mine get buried beneath bags of potatoes. Wooden crates, still reeking of rotting fish, used to mask the drones during transport, remain scattered in the back. Within seconds, they've dissolved into a shadowed alleyway just 50 yards from the intersection. Headlights slice through the darkness, illuminating the abandoned van. For 10 excruciating seconds, Russian soldiers inspect the empty vehicle. The overwhelming stench of decaying fish convinces them this is nothing more than some local fisherman's abandoned junk. Frustrated but seeing no immediate threat, the patrol leader radios back to base. False alarm. Just a derelict vehicle. Returning to position. The operatives have survived the closest call, but their escape isn't completely clean. As they activate the Starlink controller for the drones from their concealed position, the system emits a microscopic 0.3-second electronic signature. It's barely detectable, but on a Russian signals intelligence display, it registers as an anomaly. The patrol may have departed, but the base has shifted to heightened alert status. The bear is now awake and suspicious. At 5:38 a.m., the Russian commander feels something wrong in his gut. That electronic anomaly was too close, too irregular for comfort. He issues new orders immediately. Move the depot, now. A $2 million mobile depot vehicle, loaded with a lethal Lancet drone arsenal, rolls through the main gate surrounded by 7 armed infantrymen. It's moving away from the intersection containing the buried mine. The entire Ukrainian operation is seconds from catastrophic failure before it even properly begins. From their hiding position 300 yards away, HUR operatives watch their primary target escaping. They have one opportunity to reverse this disaster. The designated pilot launches the first 2 FPV bait drones from the warehouse. Instantly, they're engulfed by a massive wall of electronic interference. The Jetel jammer activates, flooding the 2.4 GHz frequency with suppression noise. On the pilot's screen, the video feed fractures and distorts wildly, but this is exactly what Ukrainian intelligence anticipated. These FPVs aren't attempting stealth operations. They're broadcasting a very specific electronic signature, the spoofed signal of a Russian Lancet drone. On the Russian electronic warfare operator's console, the signal appears as a perfect deception. It's transmitting a valid IFF identification code, but its flight pattern is completely erratic, digital seizure symptoms. For the operator, this isn't an attack scenario. It's an embarrassing technical malfunction. A piece of their sophisticated equipment has gone haywire inside their own airspace. The Russian jammer operator detects the friendly signal, assumes it's a system glitch, and targets it with a focused jamming beam. On his screen, the signal dies. He reports a successful neutralization. It's a textbook electronic warfare engagement, exactly as his training prescribed. To reinforce the deception, a third Ukrainian operative hidden near the warehouse triggers the mission's cheapest yet most brilliant asset, a $5 firework. He launches it into the side of a junked truck 100 yards from the intersection. The result produces a shower of sparks, a cloud of smoke, and the perfect visual illusion of a drone crash site. This is the moment Ukrainian intelligence calculated everything on. The commander, observing from miles away in his secure bunker, sees exactly what his confirmation bias wants to see: validation of his expensive hardware investment. His multi-million-dollar jammer system has just eliminated a primitive drone threat from the sky. For him, this isn't mysterious. It's a routine victory, confirmation of Russian technological superiority. But recovering the wreckage isn't just tactical procedure. It's an opportunity to collect a trophy, examine the enemy's inferior technology. The Russian commander, drunk on arrogance from his supposed victory and eager to inspect the malfunctioning drone, makes the second catastrophic mistake of the morning. He orders his convoy to change course immediately and head directly to the crash site to secure the wreckage. These $2 million depot vehicle packed with high explosives turns and rolls to a perfect stop. Its front wheel now rests less than 12 inches from the pressure plate of the TM62 mine. The bait has worked with surgical precision. However, the firework has also attracted the Russian ground patrol. They're now moving to secure the area, sweeping the warehouses with thermal imaging optics. The HUR team sits directly in their path, and they have less than 30 seconds before their heat signatures betray their position. At 5:42 a.m., Russian soldiers are 25 seconds from discovering the HUR team's concealed position. It's execute or die. From the alley, the Ukrainian operator transmits a single encrypted command through the Starlink link. This is the signal the Baba Yaga has been waiting for in absolute silence. It doesn't fire a missile. It doesn't drop an explosive payload. It uses a simple low-power laser to remotely detonate the TM62 mine from 300 yards away. The result is a 500-degree flash of pure destructive physics. The 15 pounds of high explosive don't obliterate the massive depot truck. They perform brutal mechanical surgery. The blast tears through the front axle, shreds the tires completely, and critically vaporizes the control wiring connecting the driver to the engine and braking systems. The $2 million war machine is now a 40-ton paperweight, permanently stranded on target. The explosion sends the Russian patrol diving for cover, but the chaos provides perfect concealment for the operatives. To Russian observers, this appears as a random IED ambush, a terrifying but familiar threat. They have zero indication it's a calculated move in a vastly larger strategic chess game. Their combat training takes over automatically. They return fire blindly into the smoke-choked industrial park with DSHK heavy machine guns, sending tracer rounds ripping through the air. On the Russian command network, panicked voices report an IED strike, then small arms fire, then a possible secondary explosion from the power infrastructure. The tactical picture is dissolving into complete chaos, and in that chaos, the Baba Yaga finds its operational freedom. This represents the moment of maximum vulnerability for the heavy drone. It must now take flight to prepare for the terminal strike phase. As it lifts off from the warehouse floor, the Russian Orlan-10 reconnaissance drone circling high above immediately detects its 150-degree heat signature. To preserve the mission, one of the remaining FPV bait drones becomes a sacrifice. The Ukrainian pilot sends it on a deliberate suicide run, slamming it directly into a high-voltage power line 100 yards away. The resulting electrical explosion creates a massive secondary thermal bloom, a brilliant flash of false heat that temporarily blinds the Orlan's infrared optics. It's an act of electronic martyrdom that gives the Baba Yaga the 2 critical seconds it needs to disappear into the urban clutter. The depot is crippled, but the Russians aren't helpless. The surviving soldiers have deployed a cloud of chaff, a shower of metallic strips designed to blind incoming radar-guided weapons. And a frantic call has gone out. An Mi-8 helicopter gunship, a rapid response asset, is now inbound. Estimated arrival, 5 minutes. The clock is ticking toward the final act. At 5:44 a.m., the Mi-8 gunship is 80 seconds out. A fresh 10-man Russian patrol is storming the industrial park, now less than 100 yards away. And inside the Baba Yaga, the battery indicator is screaming a final warning, 5% power remaining. The HUAR operatives have one shot. They have to take it immediately. The air has become a storm of Russian countermeasures. A glittering cloud of metallic chaff hangs suspended, designed to blind radar-guided weapons. The DSHK heavy machine gun continues firing wildly, filling the space with a wall of lead. The Russian defense is brilliant in its execution, but they're fighting the wrong kind of war because the Baba Yaga isn't using radar guidance. It's using a thermal camera, and it can see the depot's heat signature glowing directly through the chaff and smoke. It's like attempting to stop a sniper with a smoke grenade, fundamentally the wrong countermeasure. Aboard the incoming Mi-8, the pilot stares at his thermal display in complete confusion. His orders direct him to support troops under fire at the depot, but his screen is screaming about a massive heat source 2 miles to the north. It's the thermal signature of a burning tank, a priority 1 target. It makes 0 tactical sense, and that confusion is exactly what the decoy beacon was engineered to create. To deal with the incoming gunship, the operatives trigger their final surprise. An echo beacon disguised as a bird's nest, planted hours ago, suddenly broadcasts a massive false heat signature, sending the Mi-8's advanced sensors on a wild goose chase 2 miles in the wrong direction. The operator makes the final call. Kamikaze protocol. The Baba Yaga stops hovering and dives, screaming downward at 120 miles per hour. Its onboard AI, now in complete autonomous control, makes microsecond adjustments, weaving through the stream of tracer fire. It's no longer a drone. It's a 15-pound armor-piercing bullet. The shaped charge detonates against the side of the depot truck. A jet of molten copper traveling at 7,000 miles per hour slices through 8 inches of steel plating as if it were butter. It doesn't just explode the exterior. It ignites the depot's main payload, the entire arsenal of over 20 Lancet drones, each packed with their own explosive warheads. The result is a devastating chain reaction. A 2,000-degree fireball erupts into the morning sky. It incinerates the depot's Lancet arsenal, kills 5 Russian soldiers instantly, and silences the DSHK in a massive fireball. Just as the shockwave hits their position, the HUAR operatives hear shouting from the new patrol, now just 8 seconds away. They don't run. They simply lift a manhole cover and disappear into a pre-prepared civilian tunnel, crushing their hacked radio equipment to dust as they descend. The trap is complete. The Mi-8 gunship arrives 70 seconds later to find only a crater and a column of black smoke rising into the dawn. The hunters are gone. The bear's claws have been permanently clipped. At 5:45 a.m., the last thing the Baba Yaga's camera recorded before impact was a scene of perfect, desperate chaos. Surviving Russian soldiers firing their AK-74s blindly into the smoke. The Mi-8 gunship, finally realizing it's been deceived by a decoy beacon, circling uselessly over a burning crater. The 10-man patrol arriving at the intersection, not as reinforcement, but as a cleanup crew for a battle that ended before they even arrived. The Russians were fighting ghosts. Their truck needed 15 seconds just to turn around. The AI needed only 50 milliseconds to deliver the final blow. The strategic fallout was immediate and devastating. In Melitop, A column of black smoke rising 200 feet into the air served as a silent signal of hope to the local resistance. But on the front lines in Zaporizhzhia, the effect was far more tangible. The destruction of this depot eliminated Russia's ability to launch over 20 Lancet drone sorties per week, directly saving the lives of Ukrainian soldiers and civilians for months to come. Let's examine the final mathematics. Ukraine risked a team of 3 operatives and spent roughly $1,500 on a van, 4 cheap drones, a landmine, and a firework. Russia lost a $2 million depot, 20 Lancet drones worth $700,000, and a strategic edge worth up to $20 million in operational. Chaos and disruption, that's a return on investment.